Hey guys, Dave here from Wolf in the Wild Survival. As you no doubt know by the title, we're talking about plantain today. Now, I have some dried plantain. Basically, I picked a whole bunch of it, I tied it up, and I let it sit over a week, I think. I was in no hurry to get it done. It probably dries in a few days, 4 or 5 days maybe. But I let it sit for well over a week before I got at it, and I got a bunch of the seed and a lot of the leaf, crunched it all up, and got it into this jar. Most of the time, fresh plant is better than dried plant. And I have a bunch of fresh plant here that we're going to be using soon. Now, let me see now. I've got to have at least one good. Oh, here we are. Now, I'm pretty sure I do have a video about plantain already. It's probably one of the ones I did maybe in my first year. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But I've got some little plantain leaves here. And it's like a hunk of grass or something. That don't belong there. Alright. So this is the plantain majora. Broadleaf plantain. There's also lance leaf plantain. As mentioned in my plantain video from before, they have the same properties. They're pretty much the same thing. They just look a little bit different. Doesn't matter which one you use. In this area here where I am, the broadleaf plantain is the absolute most common. So I've got a bunch of that to use very, very soon. So as mentioned, fresh plant is usually better to use. The one time that dried plant is definitely better is if you're making a plantain tea or infusion. Now, this eventually will go bad, mushy, moldy, kind of whatever. Same thing with this here. This will last a good long time. This will last, a year or more. Now, obviously, stored in the fridge, your infusion will last longer than if you just have it on a shelf somewhere in your living room. I mean, you want to keep it in a sort of a dark, cool place, but it doesn't last like forever. It doesn't last super long. A couple of weeks, maybe a month at absolute most, before you pretty much want to discard whatever you got that you haven't used. So you don't want to mix up a huge batch of this stuff. And that's why I have the dried leaves is in the wintertime, it's not available. Certain areas where I might go camping, it would be very hard to find or unavailable. And in my bush kit, I am working on kind of a little thing where I bring along some of the more useful medicinal plants. This is definitely going to be one of them. And the fresh leaves should be washed and then dried with a paper towel or tea towel, something like that. You want to get any blades of grass out of it, anything that doesn't belong. And pretty much the whole plant is useful. The stem, the roots, kind of everything. But you don't want any other plants mixed in. You don't want any dirt, anything like that. So, most of you would know, if you've seen my video or any videos or whatever, what this generally would be used for. You get like an insect sting or an insect bite, you can take some of this, you can chew it up, and you get this little ball of macerated material, and then you put it on the sting, the bite, the kind of whatever, and you just hold it there. And it will help draw out anything that insect might have put into you. Mosquitoes inject in sort of an anticoagulant, and that causes the swelling and irritation and itching and kind of whatever. That will help get rid of that. Bees and wasps have a venom that they inject into you when they sting you. That will help get rid of it. As well as things like blisters, pimples, dermatitis. If you get a little bit of poison ivy on you, this will help to draw some of the oil from the poison ivy out and help reduce the itching and swelling as well. So it's a very, very good plant to know about if you're just in the woods doing your thing. If you have time to prepare it into different ways, it becomes useful in a number of different situations. Like the infusion or tea is actually pretty good for like diarrhea, and if you have like a cough or a cold, sore throat, things like that. I think they used to use it to help treat dysentery a long time ago, and in a tea form, it is pretty good for minor ear infections. If you have an ear infection that isn't like super, super bad, this will help to cure that up. You basically just sort of lay down, you put it in your ear until your ear is full, and then you just lay there basically as long as you pretty much can. 10-15 minutes probably would be your top end of how long you would want to sit there. It's also pretty good for stomach upset, but it might possibly, especially if you're not used to it, it might cause bloating. But that's pretty rare. It's pretty rare that it does that. In pretty much whatever form you're going to use it, plantain is fairly antiseptic, and it's very soothing. If you have like psoriasis, it will help to soothe the itching and whatnot of psoriasis. Same thing with dermatitis and like rosacea and whatnot. Swelling, helps to bring down swellings. It's an absolute awesome plant to know. I mean, this is probably one of the first medicinal plants that you should learn if you're just starting out. Now, also, if you were to infuse the plant in oil, the oil itself lasts a whole lot longer than the infusion does. It can last, if stored properly, probably up to a year. And that oil is a little bit more useful for a lot of the skin irritations, skin problems, insect bites, things like that. Because, okay, say you put this in a spray ball, and you're out in the bush, you're kind of doing whatever, you're getting bit by insects, mosquitoes, black flies, kind of whatever. You can spray those insect bites down with a spray with this stuff here, the tea, and it will help take away the itch, soothe the skin, kind of whatever. But it's obviously, it's it's a very, very watery liquid. The oil will do the same thing, but you just put a little on your finger and you rub, you know, kind of whatever, and you don't have to apply it so much because the oil actually holds onto your skin better than this here does, and it lasts longer than the infusion. So the oil, you can pretty much do that in two ways. One, you can take a bunch of the fresh leaves and you can chop them up and you can put them in a jar and then fill it up with oil, and you let it sit for 8 weeks. Or you can do it a faster way, but there's a little bit more to it, and we'll get to that in just a second. Okay, so this preparation, the way we're about to do this, it's actually pretty easy. You could, in theory, do it around a campfire. I've washed my plantain, and I've picked out, I'm pretty sure, pretty much everything that doesn't belong in there. Oh, maybe not. Nope, that's... So, there we are. Yeah, pretty much got it all. Now, for this, you're going to want it to be dry. Any water that is in this preparation will very quickly go rancid, and it will ruin your final product fairly quickly. So you're going to want to make sure that it's good and dry. It is important that you clean it, though. You want to get dirt completely out. Any other plants or plant material that doesn't belong. You want it to be as fresh as possible too, so you don't necessarily want to say put this out in the sun to dry, and then, you know, just sort of leave it. You want nice fresh plantain. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to chop it up a little bit. Now, one of the final stages of making this is to get rid of as much of the plant matter out of the oil as possible. So you don't want to chop it up super fine unless you have a really good sieve or colander or whatever to make sure that you get as much out as you possibly can. The leaves left in the oil will also go bad faster than the oil itself with the juices out of the plant. So it's fairly important to get as much out as you possibly can. All of it if possible. Now, I don't have a very fine sieve, so I'm not going to chop this up too much at all, because I'm going to rely on this colander here. So, you're going to need your chopped plantain, obviously. You're going to need an oil. I thought for sure I had olive oil around here, but I don't know where it went. For some reason, I don't have it. vegetable oil or, you know, any other food grade oil or whatever will work just fine. You need a clean jar. You need a pot. You need some sort of way to get the plant matter out. And you need water. Okay. Step one. Fill up your jar with your chopped plantain. And like I say, this will last up to a year if stored properly, so you might as well make a fair bit. Alright. Step 2, vegetable oil, olive oil, canola oil. I would avoid something like sesame oil, because sesame oil is actually kind of an irritant. And something soothing like plantain, you don't want to have an oil that's going to be an irritant. I'm not 100% sure about vegetable oil. I thought I was prepared for this video, but not quite as much as I had thought I was. So, vegetable oil it is today. But I recommend a good olive oil. Next, you take your plantain and you put it in a pot. And then you add water to the pot until you are about 3/4 of the way up the jar. So you don't want any water getting into the jar at all. Get that in the middle, and then you want to heat that basically on a low, medium low, and you want to do it for about 2 hours. So here's where it's going to be a little bit difficult if you're doing this over a campfire to make, because you don't want to burn the oil, you don't want high heat, so you're going to want to keep it back and just sort of let it slowly do its thing. But I got a nice little butane stove here. Takes these really handy cans, which, I mean, why most people would bother carrying something like this into the woods, I don't know, but in a camper trailer it works out just fine until I can get my actual stove working here. And you put that over your low setting and you let that do its thing for about 2 hours. The pot is pretty small. Chances are that water's gonna, start to kind of evaporate away fairly quickly. You don't want that to empty out, so you're gonna want to keep some water on hand, which will allow you to just sort of top it off every little bit, so that you don't lose all the water out of your pot while you're making your oil infusion. Alright, it's been a couple hours. Say we're alright. So now we have to set this off to the side. And we have to be very careful about knocking the glass around or shocking it at all while it's as hot as it is. Because if we break that, it's obviously ruined. Now we don't want to leave it until it's completely cool, because while the oil is still fairly hot, it's easier to put through a strainer and get it into your receptacle than it is when it's cold. It's a little more viscous when it's cold. So we're going to leave that for just a couple of minutes, just to let the temperature, start to become a little more room temperature, and then we'll strain it into our bowl. Okay, so it's been about 5-10 minutes. Not super long, it's still pretty hot. So, But now that it's not as hot as right off the stove, it should be a little safer to handle the glass jar without worrying about shocking the glass and breaking it. Fork. Just stir that around a little bit, sort of mash it down, try to get as much of that oil as possible into our bowl. It's actually got a very, very nice smell to it. Smells really, really nice. And for those of you who don't like to waste or whatever, plantain is edible. Somewhat similar to spinach. In a way. Leaves are a little bit tougher. But, I have to say, after simmering in oil for 2 hours, a little bit of salt, and this really wouldn't be all that bad. Okay, now the strainer that I used actually did a pretty good job. But I also didn't chop it very finely either. So, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. There's one more piece there. It's small. Probably wouldn't really hurt it, but Yeah, I think that is about as clean as it's going to get. It's still fairly hot, but once it's cooled off, it could be put into a small pump. Oh, there's a... There we are. I didn't notice that until just now, actually. I just got this little kit the other day from the Dollarama. As far as preparing different plants into different, kind of ways, it's actually not that bad of a little kit. One thing that I will be keeping an eye on is, instead of this little squeeze tube kind of thing, I'm hoping to find a similarly sized storage jar of some kind, so that when I put this kit together, I can have a pump for the oil, I can have 2 spray bottles for the infusion, because you will go through a lot more infusion than you will oil, generally, when you're using it. Then there's these 2 little containers here that I can use to store some of the dried leaf, or I could use it so that, say, I take one of these containers and my thing of dried leaf, and I put into the container, and then I take some water, or even better, some of my infusion, and spray it in there to rehydrate the leaves, which then can be used as though they were fresh for packing a wound, or putting over a bug bite or sting or whatever. So I was actually kind of happy to find that little kit, and I could even write Plantain on the top of the lid, or write it on a piece of paper and tape it into the underside of the lid, and I could have that as part of my travel kit if I want to bring the plantain preparations with me wherever I go. I could also do that with a number of other plants as well. That would have some amount of multiple uses, like plantain does. So once your oil is down to around room temperature, at least, a temperature that you can handle it comfortably, you can put it into whatever receptacle you like, and then if you have a cut or an abrasion or a sting or a bug bite or almost anything to do with the skin, really, chapped lips, even, like, just anything, you're good to go. And you could also use coconut oil to do this, which it would obviously go into sort of a different jar, because coconut oil, when it's somewhat cool, it's kind of hard and white. On really hot summer days, it is very, oily liquid, kind of fairly viscous, but a little bit of a sunburn on my face here. I'll just use some of that coconut oil, because coconut oil is also very soothing. It's also very, very good for your skin, and it's also antibacterial and antiseptic, which will definitely add to the qualities of plantain. So you could prepare it as kind of a salve, but at sort of higher summer temperatures, like I say, it does kind of turned into more of a liquid oil. So a little bit harder to work with, but very, very doable. I think that's basically everything. Because I started this video probably 3 hours ago. I don't want to repeat myself too much or anything, which I probably already have. So yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully, this helps you guys out. Some of you guys with rosacea, dermatitis, things like that, give it a try. Definitely give it a try. See if this can help you, because it has helped a couple of my friends. So we're going to leave it here at that, and we're going to say see you in the next video. Until then, stay well.